Every time you click, you're leaving a digital footprint. But what story is that data telling? And more importantly, who's listening? Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the hidden risks of AI and show you how to stay in control of that story.
So let me ask you something. What if your daily coffee habit could actually get you denied for a loan? Sounds completely absurd, right? But believe it or not, this isn't some crazy hypothetical. It's a real-world scenario that shows just how personal and how high-stakes data privacy has become.
So, meet Novabank. They got into some serious hot water when it came out that they were using third-party location data, literally tracking where their customers bought coffee to help decide who got a loan. They called it surveillance lending. And the biggest problem? The customers had absolutely no idea this was happening. They never, ever consented to it.
That whole Novabank situation is a perfect example of the new kind of threat we're facing. It's not always about hackers breaking in anymore. It's about how our data, even when it's gathered legally, can be twisted and used in ways we never, ever intended.
Okay, so this brings us to a really crucial idea called data provenance. The easiest way to think about it is like a birth certificate and a passport for every single piece of data. It has to answer two simple but non-negotiable questions. Where did you come from, and did you get permission to be here? Without that, there's no way to prove an AI model is legal, let alone ethical.
I know, data provenance might sound a little technical and dry, but what it stands for is actually super simple, and it really does affect all of us. Let's break it down with an analogy you'll get right away.
Just think about it like a food label at the grocery store. You wouldn't buy a can of something with no label, right? Of course not. You'd want to know what's in it, where it came from, if you're allergic to it. Well, we need to start thinking about data in exactly the same way before we let anyone feed it to an AI.
So here's the test, and it's super simple. If the data has no label, you don't know its origin, that's a huge red flag. If it's missing key ingredients, like a clear record that says, yes, you have my consent, then you just can't trust it. The verdict is easy. That data is not safe to use, period.
And of course, the risks are always evolving. With all the new generative AI tools, we're seeing totally new kinds of attacks. Things like prompt injection, where you can literally use clever wording to trick an AI into breaking its own safety rules. Or system prompt leakage, which is even wilder. You can coax the AI into spitting out its secret back-end instructions. These aren't attacks made of code, they're attacks made of words.
And this isn't just theory. The TAP incident was a real-world mess where an AI image tool apparently started leaking personal data because of these exact kinds of clever tricks. It just goes to show you the gap between a simple prompt and a serious data breach is getting dangerously small. And it's things like this that are making global regulators finally step in.
Okay, so we've looked at the problems, which can feel a little daunting. But here's the good news. Regulators around the world are starting to build a protective shield for all of us, and they're doing it by creating a new framework of digital rights.
So here's a quick cheat sheet for your rights. In Europe, you've got GDPR, which gives you the right to an explanation. This was made specifically to fight those frustrating black box decisions where a computer just says no and you don't know why. Over in California, the CCPA gives you the power to tell companies, hey, you can't sell my data. And in India, the DPDP Act really doubles down on your right to give truly informed consent.
And this is the most important thing to get. These regulations aren't just some boring compliance paperwork for businesses. No, they are designed to give power back to you, the individual. They are your fundamental rights for the digital age. Okay, so with all of this in mind, how do you actually apply it? How do you protect yourself? Well, it all comes down to a really simple but incredibly powerful three-question safety check. It's all about developing a healthy skepticism for the apps and services you use every single day. Let's call it the origin check. First, you ask about the source. Hey, does this app really need my location 24/7? Second, permission. When I clicked I agree on that long legal document, what did I actually agree to? And third, purpose. Is this data being used for the service I signed up for, or is it being used for something else entirely, like in that Novabank scandal?
And the rule here could not be simpler. If the answer to any of those questions is, I'm not sure, or I don't know, then you have to stop. That's a red light. It means you need to dig into your privacy settings, question why an app needs what it needs, or maybe even just find a different service. Uncertainty is a warning sign.
Look, every click you make, every place you go, every single piece of your data is telling a story about you. So the final question you have to ask yourself is this: do you have any idea who's listening to that story and what they're planning to use it for?